Hello and welcome back for another awesome episode of the Fit 40 podcast. Today, we're going to be talking all about high protein breakfast ideas. These are breakfast ideas that I've actually seen clients use and see amazing results with, things that are quick on the go that are not going to take forever to cook. Now, before we get into it, for those of you returning, I appreciate you coming back, listening in for another awesome episode. Make sure that you're following so that way you get notified every time a new podcast drops. And for those of you who are new to the show, welcome. I hope that you get enough value out of this that at the very end, you're like, you know what? I like what this guy's saying. I'm going to give him a follow or a subscribe, wherever the heck you're listening or watching. But that's that. On with the show. So, high protein breakfast ideas. Now, this comes off of pretty much 5,000 times I've been asked this question. So what should I do for breakfast? What are some high protein options? And there's a million and one ways you could go about this. Let me start this off by saying, go in the direction that sounds best, something that you actually look forward to eating, because you can make almost anything high protein with a couple of little switches here and there. And I'll give you some tips along the way, but basically what I'm going to lay out are ideas for recipes that you can go ahead and Google high protein this, high protein that, and test trial and error. Because even if I give you the world's best recipe, there's going to be people that are like, this recipe sucks. Or there's going to be people that are like, how do I do this? How do I do that? And when it comes to laying things out and giving you in-depth recipes, that's not my jam. I like leaning on other people. So what I'm going to do for those of you who are interested, I'm going to leave the Instagram handles and any other way to find these people, like websites and things, of the people I usually bum recipes off of. So I'll give you a good list down below. Definitely give them a look. And they've got some incredible recipes, some really cool ways to add protein, to add veggies, and all these other ways to make your nutrition incredibly better, for lack of a better term. So now let's go with the first quickest, easiest way to get more protein in the morning, and that is a super shake. So a super shake is something that I first came across through my certification through Precision Nutrition. And it's a really simple way to get a lot of really good stuff in first thing in the morning. And it's a pretty simple recipe. Basically, you pick a liquid, you pick a protein, whether that's like protein powder, ideally. And along with that, you pick a fruit, you pick a veggie, and you blend it all up. And you could add in things like seeds, you could add in things like toppings, like chocolate chips and stuff like that. As long as we're getting a ton of micro and macronutrients that are healthy in our diet to start the day, no reason we can't add a little bit of sweetness in there. But that's the gist of it. So if you want to play around with that method, then give it a go. Throw your regular protein shake into its container, shake it all up, do your thing, and then get creative with it. See, can I squeeze in a vegetable in here and blend it up without me really noticing? Can I throw a fruit in here without it completely throwing the flavor off? And that's a really good way to go about it and have some fun with starting this process of improving your nutrition first thing in the morning. Next that I have on my list is muffins of multiple types. There's egg muffins, where you take pretty much all the ingredients you would put into a normal omelet and you put that into a muffin tray, and you have however many throughout the week that you can eat first thing in the morning. All you have to do is heat it up in the microwave and bing, bang, boom, you're good. There's also oatmeal ones. If you want to put them in the freezer or the fridge and make high protein oatmeal, kind of like overnight oats, in single individual muffin servings. Now you've got them measured out if you want to, and you can throw it into your tracker, and you always have roughly right around exactly what you're getting. Then that could be an option. And then as I was doing some research for this episode, trying to get some more ideas, I came across a really good one that I'm like, damn, I've never even thought of that, which is crustless quiches. So if you're a big fan of quiches and you don't have any dairy issues of any kind, that's a really good idea. And we want to be conscious of the saturated fat content if the rest of your day is pretty high. But if you eat an all around really healthy diet, and this will help you get a little bit more protein in, and we're not going really past that 10% of your calories from saturated fat mark, then we could definitely fit that in. So that's another option as well. Another thing, number 3 on the list, is protein pancakes or waffles. So you take whatever the protein pancake mix is, whether that's, I prefer flapjacked because that's a gluten-free one, but there's also Kodiak cakes or stuff like that. And you just cook them all up like a big, big batch, and you have them ready to go for the entire week. So you only take 1 or 2, pop it in the microwave, boom, done. Throw on some Walden Farms syrup, which is sugar or not a sugar free, a 0 calorie maple syrup, and they've got some really good ones. Don't go for their ketchup and their sauces like barbecue sauce. They are absolute garbage, and their salad dressings, but they nailed it when it came to the pancake syrup. So the maple, what is it? Maple walnut, and then the regular pancake one are freaking licious. So that's another really good one to throw in there. Next is an omelet. So if you're going out to a diner for breakfast, or you're at home and you have 5-10 minutes to throw something together, omelets are quick and easy. You literally just take your eggs. If you want to scramble them up, you can scramble them. You could beef them up with even more protein with egg whites. So you can mix that all together, toss it in a pan, get some vegetables down, maybe even throw some ham or turkey bacon in there. And then within the course of 5-10 minutes, you have a crazy protein packed breakfast. Next, we have power bowls. So when we talk about power bowls, I'm talking like skillets and things like that that you get at the diner or something, where you have eggs or egg whites, some bacon, turkey bacon, some ham, some lean sausage, and potatoes. And when you can combine all of those things together, it's awesome. But this probably would take a little bit more prep work, especially on the protein side of things. Now, eggs are easy because you just pour them and they're good to go. But if you need to cook up bacon, if you need to cook up sausage or whatever it is, we don't want to go crazy on the processed meat. I'm just throwing this out there. Okay. But if you have proteins like that you plan on eating, you definitely want to do it ahead of time, because that'll add some time if you're squeezed for it. What do we have next? We got avocado toast with eggs. Avocado toast is awesome, but it's overdone to the point where people are over consuming on calories. They're not getting enough protein. So the reason for that is usually we're going crazy on the guac side of things, and we're picking these breads that don't really provide a whole lot of nutritional value. So instead, if you're going to do avocado toast, go ahead and first off, find a bread that is whole grain, something that provides a lot of fiber in it, because that fiber is going to have a ton of health benefits, and it's going to fill you up way, way, way more than some basic white bread, Italian bread, anything like that. And then when it comes to the guac side of things, the avocado side, okay, I know I keep saying guac. I know it's not guac. It's just smashed up avocado. But in my head, it makes sense. When it comes to that, just measure it out. Make sure that we're getting like half of an avocado between 1 or 2 slices of bread. Don't go crazy on that, just enough to get a really good taste for it. And then load up the rest with eggs, kind of like an open faced sandwich, where you can just scramble up an egg or two with a bunch of egg whites in the pan and then throw it over the top. You can get a quick 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 grams of protein just from those eggs alone. And then if you want to spice it up with some turkey bacon and like some other stuff as well that are proteins, you can do that as well. I know I keep mentioning these processed meats, and I apologize. There are more out there. We definitely want to minimize the processed meat consumption, but if you really want it, go for it. Let's see, what do we have next? We got breakfast quesadillas and burritos. These are awesome for on the go, because yes, you will have to prepare it, but I can tell you right now, I was at a bachelor party in Scottsdale, and we woke up with maybe 2 minutes before our tea time, and there were a bunch of breakfast burritos in the fridge. Every single one of us grabbed it, ate it, and I'm like, there is no way any of us would have had any fuel in our bodies if it wasn't ready for us in the fridge. So if you can, make some breakfast quesadillas or burritos, just pre-cook them, ready to go, and you can just grab it, and you could eat it cold, even though it's not ideal. You can eat it cold, and if you want to, you could heat it up in the microwave in like 2 seconds. Next is breakfast sandwiches, which get a bad rap because every time we think breakfast sandwiches, we think of that local bagel place, or maybe it's just me because I grew up in Jersey. There are so many good bagel places. I miss it. We always think of like bacon, egg, and cheese, Taylor ham, egg, and cheese, and anybody telling me pork roll on the other end, those are fighting words. It's Taylor ham. But we always think of those types of sandwiches as these are breakfast sandwiches, but they don't necessarily have to be. Like I said, we can pick leaner things. We can do egg whites instead of regular eggs. We can do turkey bacon instead of regular bacon. We can do ham instead of like super fatty sausage. So there are options and ways we can lean it out, and you can make it open faced. So if the bagel is really what's driving the calories up, open face it. And if you want to keep everything together, melt some cheese over the top. That way, nothing goes running away from you and it's a lot easier to control. Next is overnight oats. Real simple one. That's like a night before thing. You just throw some oats in, throw your protein in, throw some milk in, give it a little whisk, and then add in whatever the heck you want and let it sit for the night. And then that's it. You just grab it and go. You grab a spoon with you and you eat it when you're in traffic, even though you should be holding on to the wheel. You could eat it at work, at your desk, knocking out work, eating your high protein option while you're doing that. It's a great way to get it done. Next is Greek yogurt. So if you're in the mood for a parfait, because who doesn't love parfaits? I love parfaits. Anybody who gets that reference, let me know in the comments or in the reviews, I guess. And also cottage cheese, like anything with Greek yogurt or cottage cheese instantly will bring the protein content up. So if you can find a way to do that, one of my favorite hacks was, and I know this isn't breakfast, but one of my favorite hacks for including more protein is one that the Stealth Health guy put up. And his information will definitely be down below because I love his recipes because it makes it feel like you're eating junk food, even though you're not. And you're getting a lot more bang for your buck, a lot more full, a lot more protein on pretty much all of his recipes. And one of the ways he does that is by making a cheese sauce where it's like nacho cheese or something like that, or it could even be an Italian, like a vodka sauce or something, and just blends cottage cheese really finely into it. So it doesn't have the chunkiness. It doesn't have that super strong flavor. And when you combine it with the right sauces, the right cheeses that kind of own the flavor profile, you don't even know it's there. So it's such an easy way to add protein. Next is coffee with protein. Now, this is one of those that people hear the first time, they're like, I don't know about that. Like, wouldn't that kind of make it like thick and chunky? And if you find the right protein powder, because there's so many different options out there now, the ones that are labeled like clean or super whey isolates, they don't really have too much of a flavor or texture to them usually. So you can sneak those in there or get ones that are espresso flavored or chocolate flavored, because there are a ton out there, because espresso and chocolate lend themselves nicely to dairy based proteins like whey, like casein. And if you want to fill yourself up a lot for the beginning of the day, I would say go the casein route if you don't have any dairy issues, because that takes a lot longer to digest and it'll fill you up and you'll feel amazing throughout the morning. So that's a really good option as well. This next one, shout out to my client, Jeff, who pretty much put me in this mental state of having to get creative. And this was one of those, like, I had to smack myself. I'm like, this is so simple. I can't believe I didn't think of this until working with Jeff for what, 6, 7 years at that point. That's just having cereal, but making your milk a protein shake. So if you're a cereal fan, go ahead and have it. Not a big deal. You could even take it a step further and get Magic Spoon, which is a protein infused cereal that have really good flavors, or get your fiber through the cereal. So get some sort of fibrous, like Fiber One, or I'm not sure if Special K has it, but take a look at the fiber content. And if you can get somewhere between 5 to 10 grams of fiber in your breakfast, that's a really good starting point. So do that, and then take whatever your protein shake is. There's a ghost protein powder that's literally called cereal milk. So you can take something like that, shake it up, and then boom, you have a super delicious, really high protein breakfast. Next is Mighty Muffins. These are one of my personal favorites because I've turned so many people on to these, to the point where I'm convinced I'm the reason for Amazon having a shortage because they are so simple, so easy. And it's not only high in protein, it's also high in fiber. And it's literally just a muffin where you add water, put it in the microwave, and boom, you have a muffin that's high protein. So when you take a look, you'll see that it has the same nutrition facts, nutrition label as pretty much any normal standard protein bar, but it has the airiness of a normal muffin. You just kind of have to get really good at the timing depending on your microwave situation and the amount of water. So it takes a little getting used to, and it's a little bit of a pain in the ass to find them on Amazon, but buy them in bulk. They're a little bit pricier, but it is worth it if you are not getting any breakfast whatsoever, or your breakfast options are really crappy, or if you're getting breakfast on the go, chances are you're going to be saving money. And next is protein bars. So if you have a really good protein bar and it takes place of no breakfast or a low quality breakfast, go with the protein bar. It's one of those things that's too simple not to do, and it'll put you in a much better position. Last but not least, this is one of my personal favorites because I used to do this back in the day when I was trying to I was falling into the wrong nutrition circles. That's kind of like why I do what I do right now, because there have been a lot of roads I've gone down where I'm like, wow, that really didn't pay off, or this was stupid. And one of the best things that I learned from those are practical tips that do have some validity to them. And one of these was leftovers. So eating leftovers, there's nothing in your body that says that you have to have breakfast food at breakfast. If you don't like breakfast, that's totally fine. Have yourself a sandwich with a ton of protein, some whole grain bread, some lettuce and tomato, and call it a day. Or what I used to do, I'm just throwing this out there. I know it kind of sounds gross first thing in the morning, but it worked. I did lean beef and bison burgers in the morning because that just scratched the itch for me. Like it was something savory, something hearty, where I'm just like, okay, this really filled me up. I got a bunch of protein out of it. I got a lot of fat out of it too, but if we're saving on carbohydrates, that was it. I would literally hold it with my fingers and eat and get the juices all over me on my way to work. So clearly it didn't work out that great for multiple reasons, but it did open the possibility of we don't always need breakfast food, especially if there's leftovers right there. So you could just pop it in the microwave, eat it first thing in the morning, and you don't have to prep anything. You don't have to cook anything. You just eat it and go. So those are my top ones. I know there's plenty more out there, but this is just to get the creative juices flowing. Go ahead and Google some ideas. And above all else, get the recipes with macros already listed. Do yourself a favor. Let somebody else do the heavy lifting of putting the macros together. Just search up stuff that already tell you what the calories are, the protein, the carbohydrates, and the fat. Make your life easier. And if you want something that actually does that for you, some recipes that literally have a MyFitnessPal barcode scanner, go ahead and check out the Fit 40 High Protein Recipe Book down below in the description or the show notes. And along with that, if you want to get a full metabolic assessment where you and me sit down one-on-one and just talk about exactly what you need, whether it be these high protein recipes, some workouts, whatever it is that you need to get yourself on track, that's what this is for. So totally free, no obligation, just go ahead, sign up. I do this for you guys because the podcast listeners care the most. You guys are sticking with me throughout these long, long episodes, and I appreciate the hell out of you. So this is my thank you to you. And as always, with any episode that you hear, if you ever at any point say, "Ooh, I got this friend or family member that really needs this information," if somebody's been bugging you saying, "Oh my God, I don't know what to eat for breakfast," go ahead and send this their way. You're welcome. And tell them I say hi and I can't wait for them to listen. And if somebody did that for you, pass it along, pay it forward. All right, that's it for me today. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you next time. But until then, go kick some ass. See you later.